The book we are reading is Classic Starts Pinocchio, retold from the Carlo Collodi original by Tanya Zamorsky. This is Chapter 7 and 8. Chapter 7, Fox and Cat and the Field of Wonders. Oh, how the vain Pinocchio cried over that endless nose, but Fairy showed no pity. After all, she thought, he had to learn that lies had consequences. In the end, however, she felt sorry for him and summoned several thousand woodpeckers. They flew in through the window and pecked all the extra nose length away. "Oh, Fairy," Pinocchio said, "I would like to stay here and live with you forever." "I would like that too," Fairy said. "We could be brother and sister." "But what about my father?" Pinocchio asked. "I already thought of that," Fairy replied. "I sent for your father. He's on his way here now." Pinocchio was so happy he couldn't wait. He wanted to meet his father halfway, so he left Fairy's house and set out for the woods. Under the big oak where he'd been hung, he heard a rustle in the bushes and was surprised to see Fox and Cat. "There you are, dear," cried Fox, hugging him. "We've missed you." "Where have you been, and what has happened to you since we last saw you?" asked Cat. "It's a long story," Pinocchio said, and told them about the muggers. "Rascals!" exclaimed Fox. "Of the worst kind," added Cat. Pinocchio noticed that Cat's paw was wrapped in a bandage, but when he asked about it, Cat looked nervously away. Fox jumped in and explained that upon meeting a starving old wolf on the road, generous Cat had nibbled off a piece of his own paw and given it to the hungry beast. "Kind Cat," Pinocchio said, wiping away a tear. "So, where are your gold pieces?" Cat asked casually. "Oh, I still have them in my pocket, except for the one I spent at the Inn of the Red Shrimp." "Wonderful!" Fox and Cat cried. "Let's go to the Field of Wonders, where you can bury them and turn those 4 coins into 2,000. It's impossible for me to go today. I'm meeting my father. I'll go with you some other time." "Another day will be too late," said Fox. "The field closes tomorrow." "Oh," said Pinocchio, frowning, "I really shouldn't." But then, like all little boys with big hearts and small brains, he hesitated and asked, "Well, is it very far?" And so it was settled. Off the trio went, walking until they came to the City of Simpletons. What a strange place this city was! It was filled with pathetic creatures, hungry and hairless dogs, featherless chickens begging for grains of wheat, large butterflies, and peacocks who were missing their colorful wings and tails because they had sold them. Every once in a while an elegant coach passed through the poor and pathetic crowd. In it rode either a fox, a hawk, or a vulture, all of whom looked very healthy and wealthy. Finally the trio arrived at the field. Fox instructed Pinocchio to dig a hole, plant the gold pieces, and sprinkle the earth with water and salt. Pinocchio obeyed. "What now?" Pinocchio asked. "Go for a walk," Fox said. "Come back in 20 minutes and you'll find a beautiful gold tree with 2,000 gold pieces as flowers." "I can't wait," Pinocchio cried. Those 20 minutes were the longest of Pinocchio's life. Finally they were over, and he ran back toward the Field of Wonders. Greedily, he imagined he would find even more than 2,000 pieces that he had been promised. He would find 4, 8, or even 16,000 pieces. Oh, the things he could buy, like a palace and 1,000 wooden ponies and an endless supply of candy and cream puffs. But when he came back to the field, there were no magical golden trees. Finding the place where he had dug the hole and buried the gold pieces, Pinocchio saw only some freshly moved soil. Reaching up to scratch his head, he heard laughter somewhere behind him. It was a large parrot in a nearby tree, and it was giggling. "What's so funny?" Pinocchio asked the bird angrily. "It's funny how easily some silly little simpletons will imagine themselves to be fooled," Parrot said. "Do you really think you could grow gold coins as if they were beans or squash seeds?" "I did," Pinocchio confessed. The puppet trembled as the parrot described how Fox and Cat had returned, dug up the buried gold pieces, and run away. Pinocchio couldn't believe it. He had to see for himself. Reaching down, he began to dig. Surely his gold pieces would still be there. He dug a hole even bigger than he was, but there was nothing. Parrot was telling the truth. "I fell for that lie once too," Parrot confessed, "and I am very sorry for it. I realized too late that the only way to get rich is to work hard for it, honestly, with your hands or your brain." Desperate, Pinocchio ran to the courthouse in town to report the robbery. The judge was a wise old monkey who wore gold-rimmed spectacles. He listened to Pinocchio's story very carefully. When the puppet was done, he reached out and rang a bell. Pinocchio was pleased, thinking he was about to receive justice. Perhaps those two rascals had already been caught. Instead, however, two large uniformed dogs appeared. At the judge's orders, they dragged Pinocchio off to jail for the crime of being a simpleton. For 4 long months he sat in jail. Then one day the town had a celebration. The mayor ordered fireworks, circus acts, and best of all, the opening of the prison doors. Pinocchio's luck seemed about to change. "Open this door," he cried. The jailer explained that the only prison doors of thieves and rascals were to be opened, not those of the simpletons. "But I am a thief and a rascal, not a simpleton," Pinocchio cried. "Oh," the jailer replied, "well, in that case you are also free. Good day and good luck to you, sir." He opened the door and Pinocchio ran out and away. Oh, how happy the newly freed puppet was! Quickly as he could, he ran from the fairy's house. He hoped Fairy and Father would forgive him. He wanted to reach Fairy's house before dark, but he was so terribly hungry that he stopped, just for a second, to pick some grapes in a nearby field. That was a big mistake. As soon as he reached out for a piece of fruit, something snapped on his legs. It was a trap set by a farmer to catch the weasels who came every so often to steal his chickens. Chapter 8. Adventures of a Watch Puppet. For hours Pinocchio lay stuck in the trap. He screamed for help, but nobody heard him. Just as he was about to faint, he saw a tiny firefly flickering by. "Dear little fly," he cried, "will you set me free?" The firefly asked how he happened to get caught in the trap, and Pinocchio told her. "Were the grapes yours?" she asked. "No." "So what made you think you could take them?" "I was hungry," Pinocchio replied. "Hunger, my boy, is no reason for taking something that doesn't belong to you." "I'll never do something that doesn't belong to you." "I'll never do it again." Just then the farmer approached to check on his trap. Imagine his surprise when, instead of a weasel, he found he had caught a puppet. "So you're the one who's been stealing my chickens," he accused. "No, I only wanted 1 or 2 grapes." "He who steals grapes may very easily also steal chickens," the farmer reasoned. "I'm going to teach you a lesson." Taking Pinocchio out of the trap, he carried him up to the farm as though he were a puppy. And in a way he was. For his new job, the farmer explained, was to be the farmer's watchdog and guard the hen house. The farmer's old watchdog, Melampo, had recently died, so this plan worked out perfectly. "I am sorry about Melampo," Pinocchio protested, "but I am a puppet, not a puppy." It was official, though. The farmer slipped a dog collar around Pinocchio's neck and attached a long iron chain to it. If it rained, the farmer explained, Pinocchio could take shelter in the nearby doghouse. There was plenty of, and if thieves come by, he added, be sure to bark. This is your life now. You must accept it. With that, the farmer went back into the house and to bed. The puppet turned puppy lay near the doghouse, feeling very sorry for himself. At the same time, however, he felt he probably deserved his fate. "Oh, if only I could start my life all over again," he thought. "But what is done can't be undone." And so, slipping into the doghouse and curling up on a pile of soft straw, Pinocchio fell asleep. Even very worried little puppets who are being held prisoner and forced to do the job of puppies can sleep soundly if they are tired, and Pinocchio was no exception. At midnight, however, strange sounds stirred him. Peeking out of the doghouse, he saw 4 sleek and hairy weasels. "Good evening, Melampo," one of them said sweetly. "I am not Melampo," Pinocchio replied. "He died." "Oh, no," said the same weasel. "He was such a nice watchdog. But you seem like a nice one, too." "I'm not a dog," Pinocchio said, insulted. "I'm sorry," the weasel replied. "Of course I meant nice watch puppet. Now let me tell you how this is going to work. It will be just like it always was with Melampo. With every once in a while we'll come and take a few chickens. Of course, one of them will be for you, so long as you pretend you are sleeping and do not bark." "A nice fat chicken for your breakfast," said another weasel. "Understand?" asked the first weasel. "Oh, I understand," Pinocchio said in a strange tone. What did these silly weasels think he would want with a live chicken? Thinking themselves safe, the weasels went into the chicken coop and easily broke in. As soon as they were in, however, they heard the door close behind them with a sharp bang. "Watch puppet," one of the weasels cried from within. "What are you doing?" "I am locking you in the chicken coop," Pinocchio said, "and in a minute I will start to bark. And that is just what he did, just as if he was a proper watchdog and not a puppet after all. He jumped out of bed and ran downstairs to confront the thieves. To think, the farmer said later, after things had quieted down, my faithful Melampo never saw those weasels in all these years. Pinocchio decided to keep quiet and preserve Melampo's reputation. After all, what good would it do to tell the farmer that his beloved Melampo had been a bit of a weasel too? He did, however, tell the farmer that the weasels had attempted to buy his silence with a bribe. As full of faults as I am, he added, I refused. You've done well and earned your freedom, the farmer cried, and removed the heavy dog collar. And that concludes Chapter 8. We hope you are enjoying our Chapter a Week story. Call again every week for a new chapter.